Were you guys on the winning side at all of either game yesterday? Bills? 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 Did you have the Bills?
Gambling-wise? Yes, I had the Bills.
So you were on the right side then. You didn't think the Commanders were going to win like that, did you?
No, I did not have that.
I was going to ask you guys this because I don't know if you've seen the stat now, but 5.5 or longer underdogs are 14-2 against the spread this year, and more miraculously, 10-6 outright. 10-6 as nearly a touchdown or longer favorite or underdog this season. Is this the weirdest start to an NFL season that we've seen from an underdog standpoint?
I don't have any facts to back that up. I feel like we ask that every year now.
I don't know. I listen, I think you
like I'm in a survivor pool.
Five guys left.
Well, everyone got knocked out this week. So all those, I think there were 5 guys left. All of them are back in for another week because everyone is gone now after week 3.
Oh, like everyone, literally everyone got eliminated.
Everyone got eliminated.
How many people? How many people entered to begin with?
I'd have to look. It wasn't like a huge pool, but still a survivor pool ending at week 3 is pretty incredible.
Like Danny Lynch was telling me that Circus Sports does the survivor pool out in Vegas, and they had like 3 or 4 times the amount of entries this year than they did last year. But because, to Tyler's point, there's been these upsets, they have about the same amount of contestants left at this time as the same time last year.
Despite having so many more people entered.
Yes.
Yeah. It makes sense. Look, I think the teams that you see in the final 4 weeks may be entirely different beasts than they are in the first 4 weeks. Some will maintain their level of ineptitude, some will maintain their level of excellence, and some will kind of find themselves as time goes on.
Sure.
So I don't know really what you can gather 100%. Like, I really like what the Vikings have done, not so much as a Bears fan, but just as a football fan, to watch what they're doing with Sam Darnold and all of the stuff that they've been able to do. Is it sustainable for 17 games? I don't know.
They could be like this.
I don't know if
like I've compared him with Geno Smith.
Could be.
They could be like the Seattle Seahawks from 2 years ago.
Could be. That's going to be an interesting watch.
But there were 2 things that I think were predictable. I think the Cowboys and the Bengals, a lot of us weren't ready to play based on all the drama that they were dealing with contract issues.
Yes, the Bengals, hot mess, dumpster fire, but yet they still find a way to always play the Chiefs well.
Yeah, but they're still 0-3.
Yeah, but 2 out of 3 of their games, they are exactly who we thought they were.
And Dallas, even though they had a good first game, right? And the last 2 games have been disasters.
Yes.
But even if you look at the numbers from that first game, a lot of it was not done offensively. If you look at some of the scoring drives that they had, nothing was over like 20 yards except for the first couple. So they've really struggled. And I think that first win for them, more a product of Deshaun Watson, was awful.
Who's been the biggest surprise through 3 weeks, good or bad?
The Vikings. I
Really?
think so,
Well,
yeah.
Okay, I have a question off of that for you guys. Who has been more impressive as a head coach, Kevin O'Connell or Matt LaFleur?
I would probably say Matt LaFleur, because I think Sam Darnold was what was the word I was going to use, was declared the starter pretty early, right? Like before JJ was going to get before he got hurt and out for the season, they were still going to start Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I think that was always the plan going in.
What he's done with Malik Willis, I think, has been even more impressive than what Kevin O'Connell has done with Sam Darnold.
What the Vikings did to the Texans, though, this past week.
That's true.
Like that was decisive.
Right. And basically what the Green Bay Packers have done is they lost to the 49ers, they beat a bad Colts team, and then they beat the Titans.
Right. They lost to the Eagles.
You're right. What did I say?
The 49ers.
Right. I'm sorry. I saw the Eagles. I think you're right. Like, the wins are more impressive.
I think the Vikings are my biggest surprise.
That is very fair. It would have been the Saints prior to them scoring a total of 12 points. last week.
Yeah. The Eagles,
Seahawks
the
are
Eagles
3-0 as well, but they've played nobody. But still, getting to 3-0 is
with
getting
a new
to 3-0.
coach, rookie head coach.
Yes, I'd take it.
All right, so one of the teams we saw in action last night, the Washington Commanders, their offense is spearheaded by Kliff Kingsbury, who is their offensive coordinator. And so far this season, again, only 3 games, but Washington is 5th in scoring and 6th in total offense this season. We know that the Bears brought in Kliff Kingsbury for what we felt like in the moment was just an information-seeking interview on Caleb Williams because of his ties with Caleb at USC. Should it have been more of a legitimate hiring interview?
Well, do we know that for sure it was only information gathering on Caleb Williams? They did have an OC opening, and he was hired by the Raiders, remember, first, and then he went to Washington after Quinn got the job in Washington. You would have thought he would have taken the job. And, like, I'm not going to overreact and say Kingsbury for sure was the better guy, because I thought Waldron checked a lot of boxes. A veteran play caller from the tree, the really good tree that you want. McVay, Shanahan, quarterback collective that Caleb Williams trained with.
To Caleb.
Yeah, and look, he coached with Belichick. He coached with Pete Carroll. He coached with McVay.
Helped Geno Smith get back on track.
Like on paper, he checked a lot of the boxes. But I'm not also going to dismiss Kingsbury like I heard Cap do this morning, where a lot of people are saying, well, he wasn't good. Texas, what did he ever achieve? Texas Tech?
Yes, he never had a winning record at Texas Tech.
He was always the head coach. So, like, OC is different than the head coach. He was Mahomes' coach and pretty good as far as teaching Mahomes how to play offense. And he was the head coach in Arizona, maybe underqualified for that. So always maybe better suited to be an OC than a head coach.
I think we'll find out.
So I'm not gonna go to one extreme on either side, is the point I'm making.
I think it's a little too early to come to any long-term conclusions from my perspective. Let it breathe.
Another thing from the Commanders last night is the way that their offensive line played, and were keeping Jaden Daniels upright when he was in the pocket yesterday. And one of the interesting things is that they've largely built that offensive line over the last 2 seasons through the draft and also through free agency. And notably, free agent-wise, 2 guys have come from the Chiefs among when Ryan Poles was there in Kansas City and was a part of the group that helped draft those guys and have gotten away from the Chiefs in free agency. Is that a further indictment that Ryan Poles was familiar with some of these guys and now they're having success in Washington?
I think it's an indictment that the people that they've actually put into place aren't playing well, regardless of who you try to, you try to replace them with. I don't know. Allegretti's one of them, right? Isn't Allegretti
Nick
one
Allegretti.
of them?
Mm-hmm.
Like who is the center that was available? Mitch Morse. Mitch Morse is actually, I think, rated
Carmen
pretty
was
high.
talking about him, and we were talking. I was talking about it when it happened. I never understood the Ryan Bates trade. Like, again, Ryan Bates was a backup. Ryan Bates never played center in the NFL. Ryan Bates played 30 snaps in the NFL last year. But anyway, I think the biggest indictment is the product. Like, you can look at who went where, who is, like, the finished product that they've been trying to get this offensive line right for a while, not just 1 year, and that this is what it is. That's the indictment. You want to go circle one guy, that this guy who we should have known when here could have been better. Like, him thinking that he had a better offensive line and it looking as woeful as it is, knowing that he wanted to break the cycle and, quote, it was time to win, that's the biggest indictment.
I would say also, let this Washington Commanders team breathe as well until we all, I know that great start, 3-0. Maybe they maintain this level of play. But you have to be patient and not come to hasty conclusions after such a small sample size.
You know what is interesting with the Commanders, and I know what you're saying too about don't judge them right out of the gate. A lot could change in 8 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. But there were a lot of comparisons with, and I will take Caleb Williams all day, every day. But remember this, one of the finalists in the Eberflus head coaching hire was
Dan Quinn?
Dan Quinn. He elected for Eberflus over Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's now the head coach in Washington. One of the candidates for the OC job with Shane Waldron was Kliff Kingsbury. He ended up in Washington. Waldron's here. And then the two quarterbacks that they were debating, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. And it seems like all the guys that they passed up on are in Washington. So it's a good sort of experiment to see how the ones that he didn't choose
How it all plays out.
Yeah, compared to the ones that he did choose.
And it's notable, too, because Washington brought in a new ownership group as well as a part of this cycle to kind of change the narrative surrounding Washington football as of late.
Well, and the one thing that they did, whether it was, because of how the clock, and I said clock, worked, they're all on the same schedule.
Yes. That's a really good point.
I believe, regardless of the franchise, is a good thing.
Yes.
When you're all coming in at the same time, I think that is actually a positive. It may not work out for your franchise, but then at that point, you probably move on from the whole crew at the same time. So, what's up?
Silvy, you pronounced earlier today that you doubled down
Yes.
on your Caleb Williams Rookie of the Year bet. Got some pretty good odds on that as
Plus
well.
650.
And like when you look through the stats, are Caleb's maybe like the touchdowns you'd expect to be a little bit higher, but yardage wise, he's I think like 640 yards this season, 630 yards. Probably not that far off from what you'd expect through 3 games.
No, and that's why, I think there's a lot that played into the play. I think the value is there. I think the yardage isn't terrible. The turnovers are higher than I thought it would be. The picks are higher than I thought it would be. But I don't think anyone has run away, especially after 3 games. And, yeah, I think, what is he pacing at? I think if you
3,570 yards, 11 touchdowns, 23 interceptions.
Now, again, those will have to. One good game against LA could change all of that, just like it changed all of it for Jaden. So I have not wavered, and I just got him on sale. So I like getting things on sale. I bought Caleb Williams on sale today.
Would you like some season tickets on the South Side? They're on sale.
No, that's expired. That's like buying meat that's
Old meat?
that's been in the sun and 2 weeks past.
That's like buying old meat. So you just compared buying season tickets to the White Sox with buying old meat. It's been out
it's
in the
one
sun.
thing to get on sale when something's still good, but it's another thing when something's spoiled.
Okay.
It's spoiled.
By the way, I could not believe that caller on Carmen and Yurko today has been to 70 White Sox
I
games
thought that was
this
amazing,
season.
too.
It's good for him.
He likes
I
the
guess.
ballpark and he likes baseball.
You know
Guy
what it
deserves
sounds?
an award.
It sounds like that's his hangout.
Yeah,
Like
and
that's his neighborhood bar.
Some people go to bars. He
Yeah.
goes to the ball games.
Listen, you like what you like.
Yeah, and so, exactly, like some people go to the neighborhood tavern. We've always said dinner and a show. Okay, so he hangs out with his buddies at the game, and there happens to be a game in front of him. It's not a very good game, but it's got good food, and he's got a good vantage point.
lines, good food, good beverage, nice people.
Good for him.
I almost said a swear word again. Crappy product.
Spoiled meat.
Spoiled meat left in the sun. That's tasty.
Last night, we saw Trevor Lawrence look atrocious for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they are 0-3 to start the season. And Trevor Lawrence, notably, was one of the quarterbacks who did get an extension in the offseason. So I want to ask you guys this. Which team do you think is regretting their offseason extension the most? The Jaguars with Trevor, the Dolphins with Tua, or the Cowboys with Dak?
I think you can rule out Dak.
Yeah, I don't think the Cowboys regret that.
I think it's Tua.
Yeah, but is that because of injury?
But you knew he had a history.
Yeah. But man, I don't know if anyone thought Lawrence was going to look like this.
I'm not making an excuse for Lawrence. I don't think he's been good. I don't think he's made the progress everyone expected him to make. But there was risk involved with Tua that had nothing to do with performance on the field. And Trevor Lawrence is 24. I don't know what his ultimate career arc is, but it does not look good right now.
At least he's healthy, is what you're saying.
Yeah. 24 and healthy.
Okay.
Did you see the tweet going around last night that Trevor Lawrence ruined Urban Meyer's career?
Oh, that's good.
Got a good laugh out of that.
I mean, Doug Peterson is he the ultimate roller coaster coach?
I guess.
Like he wins a Super Bowl, then he's quickly fired, and then he quickly rehabs them and has them in the postseason. And they came back against the Chargers. Remember that? They won that playoff game from that big deficit.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, hey, they're going up.
Yeah.
They're climbing. And then now it's terrible. So, all right, there you go. Aki's A-list.